On your sides, Robert Bradfield is live in downtown Jacksonville tonight near the Duval County Public Schools building with more. Robert.
Well, good evening, Anthony. There was a name change rally that was already scheduled here for this evening. That has been an issue that we've been covering for several months. But before that rally, Ben Frazier with the Northside Coalition gave us some comments regarding the rally. And the Northside Coalition really has been one of the most visible and vocal groups talking about policing throughout this country and here in Jacksonville over the past 12 months, really. And while this verdict was being read, he provided us with a statement really that also says we, being the Northside Coalition, are hoping that our efforts and marches, rallies, and demonstrations that we've covered throughout downtown over the past year, that they are wanting to denounce police abuse, specifically saying that that would be met with a just verdict. He told me a short time ago that he is pleased with the outcome of what happened today. Listen.
So we're happy that in this particular case, that all of our marches, our rallies, and our demonstrations resulted, we think, in a just verdict. So that finally, in the words of Amos the prophet, justice is rolling down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
And another question that he presented to me today, he said this trial really asks the question nationally, do Black lives matter? And he says with this justice, or this verdict rather, he said there was justice, and throughout this country people should be celebrating this verdict, and in fact Black lives do matter. We will have more reaction from Ben Frazier and the Northside Coalition coming up tonight at 11 on First Coast News. We're live downtown tonight. Robert Bradfield, First Coast News, on your side.